Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the grey. So recently, in the past few weeks, there's been a ton of rumours floating around for Warhammer Age of Sigmar and what is to come in 3rd edition. So I thought I'd put together a video and let's talk about all these rumours, talk about how maybe some of them might be real, some of them positive, and some of them that might be a little bit of hogwash. Where the rumours are coming from, generally the people who are saying them seem pretty confident in what they are saying and they say they've got sources. But as always, this is a video about rumours, so with that in mind, always take everything in this video with a grain of salt. We're not necessarily going to talk about the rumours being truth or anything, we're going to talk about, well, what might they bring and how might they affect the game if they are indeed true. Not all of these are a bad thing, and some of these maybe are things that like people have just assumed based on knowledge with other things that have happened within Games Workshop and Games Workshop games. So let's get cracking into it though. We're going to talk about, I guess, 3 major points, and let's get cracking into it. So let's start off the video talking about the things with rules that are involved in the game. So the major sort of rumour that's going around, or leak, whatever you want to call it, at this point in time, is that we're going to get charge reactions. Now, charge reactions are an interesting thing. They were around in Warhammer Fantasy for the vast majority of the game in that, and they mainly had 3 main things, where you had hold, which was you stand and fought, you had stand and shoot, where you shot your enemies coming into you, or you had flee, which was when you, well, as you would think, fled from combat. Now, these 3 sort of things can give a lot to the game, I think, but I really do think it's the implementation here of how these things are worked in that really determines whether or not that they're going to be good additions to the game. Now, for starters, I think these things should definitely be usable by command points. It'd be really cool to have stand and shoot, flee and hold as things you can do with command points. I mean, hold is probably a generic thing that you don't need anything to do, but stand and shoot and flee could be really great for command points. What would be interesting though is, do we see War Scroll changes to allow certain characters to use these and certain characters not to? But I do think having this ability on a command ability gives you options within playing the game. Now, making it tied to command points, because command points are so, I guess, scarce in Warhammer Age of Sigmar, this could be a really good thing. Armies that have a lot of command points generally aren't going to be making much use of this, though there are some occasions where this could become quite painful. I think really shooting is one of those things in the game where it probably needs to be toned back a little, but giving stand and shoot seems to be giving a buff to shooting, so how do we interact with that? Now, this could be something that they've added into the game to make up for the new board size that's rumoured. Now, the new board size is rumoured to be 44 inch by 60 inch, and yes, this is a minimum required board size. That is the same thing that people have said in 40k, however, in, I guess, organised play of any form, this will be the table size you play on. It'll be the table size the Games Workshop store probably starts running on. Your general club will probably run all their events on this board size. I see this becoming a norm, like it has become in 40k. And what this is effectively 4 of the Warcry boards stuck together. The last little bit of the rumour for this one is the new edition is dropping early July. And we've had rumours that it's actually going to go pre-order the last weekend of June, so it'll be out the first weekend of July. That, of course, is all rumour, same with everything in this video. So that, to me, sort of makes sense, I guess. Like, we've really seen, I guess, Teclis, and now 2 weeks later we're getting Bellicor for Broken Realms, and Kragnos is rumoured to be coming out at the end of the month as well. This does seem like a very plausible thing to do, especially if we haven't seen all the books. We've obviously got to fit Soulblight Gravelords in there somewhere, and GW has just started showing teasers to it, which means they're probably not far after Bellicor, if not right after themselves. So I do think that new edition dropping in July, I mean, first of all, editions normally drop in that time of the year anyway, so it seems very likely. And just how they're pumping out Broken Realms, how they're making that sort of their priority, is really seeming to say that we have something big planned after Broken Realms. Now, the interesting thing with the board size is it could be rumour, it could also be speculation, because 40k obviously changed this board size. And for me, I don't see why the 2 games would have 2 different board sizes. For Games Workshop, it makes no sense. So the same product to both game systems makes perfect sense to me. But, you know, Games Workshop don't always make perfect sense, but I definitely think that's probably the most likely thing here out of anything. is that war size will change with a new edition. And so next we've got the starter set. Now the two halves of this are going to be Stormcast Eternals and apparently some Goblins or Destruction. So let's talk about the Stormcast Eternals first. First of all, apparently it's rumoured that they're going to be Bretonnian themed. So we're going to be getting Stormcast Knights. Now this in itself I find interesting, because we've already got a all-mounted Stormcast chamber in the Extremis chamber. So what do we get if we get Stormcast Knights? Are we going to get like giant battle-bred horses? Are we going to get like more lift-limbed Dracothian creatures? Are we going to get like armored Griff Chargers to make like Griff Charger heavy cavalry? This to me leaves a lot of open questions, and I'm not really sure what exactly we might see if this is indeed true. Now, I think the interesting thing for Stormcast Knights is, well, we know the three chambers that are unopened for the Stormcast. It's said this in every Stormcast Eternals battle tome, and it continues to open up more. I mean, we knew the Sacrosanct was coming. So the three unopened chambers as they are Covenant, Logister, and Ruination. Now, what could each of those mean? I mean, Logister, to me, that sounds like logistics. So is that really a chamber we're going to see on the battlefield? Ruination, I mean, that's a destructive chamber. Or Covenant, like, to me, Covenant, sort of Ark of the Covenant, who really knows? It's an interesting sort of name for a chamber, Covenant. So, Stormcast Knights, this is the interesting thing of, like, what does it mean? What do we get? I start thinking of when we've had rumours of, like, oh, this is going to be the Tomb King inspired army, and we got Ossiarch Bone Reapers, and while you can see where the inspiration comes from with catapults, bone constructs and all that, they look nothing like that. Now this is where I start to think that we're going to get weirder looking mounts, like I guess heavily armoured Griff Chargers or something for a Stormcast Eternal Knight army, if that is indeed what we get. Now the Covenant, I guess, looking at what the definition of it is like a formal or serious agreement or promise, a formal written agreement between two or more people. It's this sort of pact, and maybe that is the chamber we're going to see. We're going to see the Covenant chamber, because maybe this is pact with these knights to do certain things across the realm. Maybe they're questing across the realm in the name of Sigmar, and they made pacts to go and do these deeds. That could be the idea behind it. But I'd be really interested to know, what do you think of Bretonnian Stormcast themed knights, etc.? What do you reckon we get? What do you want to get out of that? And which chamber do you reckon we're going to get opened if we are getting one in the new edition, which is probably likely? I guess that's the last thing to talk about, is like Stormcast Eternals in a box set. It's likely they've been in every one so far, so why would they not be? The only other army I ever see at the moment going into a box set as, I guess, the good guy's side is Lumineth, just because of how far GW is pushing them. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Lumineth in the new starter set, but once again, Stormcast could use the love. They've been out in every starter set we've got. They're always a thing. It really does leave. I guess I really do believe that we are going to see Stormcast. Whether or not it's this Bretonnian Knight inspired Stormcast, that's another question. And the other half of the box set is apparently going to be Destruction. Now, originally there were a few rumours floating around what this would be, but apparently it's going to be Hobgoblin inspired. So some sort of goblins, inspired by the old Hobgoblins, the sort of bigger goblins than the rest of them, but not quite orc-sized greenskins. Now, the one thing that apparently the rumours are saying is they've seen Goblin Wolf Riders inside the box set. So we start looking, I guess, at Ripper's Snarlfangs from the Warhammer Underworlds box sets. Now, they do have, I guess, their own sort of unique aesthetic that nothing else sort of has. They have that sort of Hunnish Highlander aesthetic about them, riding Mongolian sort of thing. And this would be a really cool thing to explore and expand upon. I wouldn't be surprised to see a new Destruction army. I mean, we've had Order vs Chaos, Order vs Death, and we're probably due for Order vs Destruction. This is not entirely out of the ballpark. I really do think we're going to see something Destruction. Whether or not it's these Hobgoblins, I don't really know. This is the part of the rumours where I'm the most perplexed by. I don't really have an answer for anything of this. I don't really have any sense to make of any of it. There's no real thought behind it other than, well, it just seems logical that eventually we get to Destruction. That's the only real piece of thought I have on it. If you could see a destruction army in the new box, what would you like to see? Would you like to see a brand new faction like Hobgoblins and Goblin Wolf Riders, etc.? Or would you like to see an existing faction added to it, make up your own? I'd love to hear some comments about what destruction faction you would like to see. So I'd like to get everyone's thoughts on everything in this video and what you want and what you would like to see from a new edition, a new starter set. I think at this point there's so many rumours coming out about a new edition, just how we're leading up with a narrative series just like they did for 40k. It really all to me just says we're getting that new edition. And really Games Workshop's going to look to make a lot of money back after some issues with COVID around the world and all of that. They want to make a ton of money and keep going from progress to progress, so a new edition for this just makes sense. Now, however, as I've said all throughout the video, these are rumours. There is nothing factual about anything in this video. We have no idea what's coming. This is just a bit of fun to talk about. I always love talking about rumours and stuff like that. It always gets me excited, gets me thinking, and, you know, I'm just excited for anything Warhammer to come out, really. But I love sort of having these discussions with people and getting some ideas and some thoughts about other people's wants from the game that I love so much. So leave some comments down below. Leave what you would like to see from a new edition, what you think we're going to see. It doesn't have to be anything to do with this video. It could be just things you want from a new edition. Obviously, the game at this point needs a little bit of cleaning up around the edges. It has some, I guess, thorns sticking out, but we'll get to it. Leave some comments down below. Let us know what you think.